her 20th anniversary year feels like a good time to remember, all the good things about her. And
shocking allegations about Princess Diana's death. Authorities now reviewing the new and sensational claim that she was actually murdered by the British government.
Tissues and crying. And then I thought, look, I've got to get a grip here and do something useful for Diana. And I decided the first thing that needed to be done was to find somebody to write and deliver the eulogy.
These 2 hours, the presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
Royal watchers were left stunned when a voice long connected to Princess Diana's inner circle reportedly stepped into the spotlight, with remarks that have reignited debate around Meghan Markle. For years, many family members remained publicly restrained. But this latest development has sparked intense speculation about what is really happening behind palace walls. As fresh claims and lingering tensions collide, the story is taking an unexpected turn. Could these revelations expose a side of the royal family drama that the public has never fully understood? What do you think? Does Diana's family have a responsibility to speak out? Or should they stay out of the controversy at all costs? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoy uncovering the latest royal developments, please subscribe. Diana's sister breaks her silence. To understand why this moment has captured so much attention, it is important to look beyond headlines and public appearances and focus on the woman now standing at the center of the conversation. Diana's sister, Lady Jane Fellowes. For decades, she has remained largely in the background, avoiding public battles while quietly helping preserve the memory of one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Yet, those who know the Spencer family understand that protecting Diana's legacy has never been a casual responsibility. It has been a lifelong commitment. At the heart of that commitment stands Althorp House in Northamptonshire, the family estate where Diana spent much of her childhood and where her memory remains deeply rooted. Beyond the grand buildings and historic grounds lies the secluded island where she was laid to rest, a place shielded from a public spectacle and carefully protected from becoming a tourist attraction. Control over that legacy has always meant more than safeguarding a burial site. It has meant deciding how Diana's story is remembered, interpreted, and passed to future generations. For years, Lady Jane Fellowes watched from a distance as references to the late princess appeared repeatedly in public life. At first, many saw them as touching tributes. Following the royal wedding in 2018, familiar pieces of Diana's jewelry reappeared before global audiences. The gestures seemed heartfelt and respectful. Yet, as time passed, the connections became increasingly frequent. Iconic accessories, familiar imagery, and recurring comparisons kept bringing Diana back into the spotlight. What appeared to concern Jane Fellowes was not a single tribute, but the emergence of a larger narrative. The pattern became especially noticeable after the highly publicized interview in 2021. Stripped of personalities and opinions, the structure of the story felt strikingly familiar to many royal observers. A woman describing isolation, emotional struggles, and conflict with an institution portrayed as distant and unresponsive. The similarities inevitably drew comparisons to Diana's own famous television interview in 1995, a moment that forever changed public perceptions of the monarchy. Then came documentaries, streaming productions, and deeply personal accounts shared with worldwide audiences. Through many of these projects, Diana's presence seemed ever present, her experiences repeatedly invoked as a framework for understanding modern events. To critics, it began to look less like remembrance and more like a carefully crafted identity. For Jane Fellowes, who had spent years guarding a legacy shaped by genuine hardship and sacrifice, that distinction may have become impossible to ignore. And after years of restraint, her decision to speak out suggested that the battle over Diana's memory had entered an entirely new chapter. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle once seemed unstoppable, with every project attracting global attention. So, what changed by early 2026? Why were industry insiders suddenly questioning their influence? And what mounting pressures behind the scenes were pushing the couple toward a critical turning point that few saw coming? Let's uncover the astonishing details. Harry and Meghan's Diana gamble. By the time the world moved into early 2026, the shine that once surrounded Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's media ventures was beginning to fade. Several high-profile projects that had been expected to dominate headlines instead struggled to leave a lasting impression. Industry observers increasingly questioned whether the couple could still command the same cultural influence that had once made them one of the most talked-about pairs in the world. Behind the scenes, the pressure to deliver something extraordinary was growing stronger with every passing month. That search for a breakthrough reportedly led to an idea that seemed destined to attract worldwide attention. The approaching 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death in 2027 presented a unique opportunity. Nearly 3 decades after the tragedy in Paris, public interest in Diana's life remained remarkably strong. Her story continued to inspire admiration, emotion, and debate across generations. For streaming executives, a major documentary about Diana promised not only strong viewership, but also the potential to become a significant cultural event. However, the reported vision extended beyond simply revisiting Diana's life. The concept allegedly aimed to draw parallels between Diana's struggles within the royal family during the 1990s and Meghan Markle's experiences in more recent years. The goal was to present Meghan as someone walking a path similar to Diana's, facing intense public scrutiny under a different era of media attention. Supporters of the idea believed such a project could influence public perception and strengthen Meghan's connection to Diana's enduring legacy. Yet, there was a challenge that could not be overlooked. A documentary of this scale required more than celebrity involvement and financial support. It needed credibility. That meant securing cooperation from Diana's family, including access to historical records, family insights, and the symbolic backing that only the Spencer family could provide. Without such support, any attempt to tell Diana's story risked facing questions about authenticity. According to reports, when the concept was presented to Diana's sister, expectations were high. Those behind the proposal reportedly believed its emotional significance would encourage cooperation. Instead, the idea was met with skepticism. As the details were examined, concerns reportedly emerged about the comparisons being made and the role Meghan was expected to play within the narrative. What followed reportedly changed the direction of the discussion entirely. Rather than offering immediate support, Diana's sister was said to have questioned the project's central premise. The debate quickly shifted from a media opportunity to a larger question about who has the authority to interpret and protect Diana's legacy. Suddenly, a plan that appeared highly promising faced its most significant obstacle: hesitation from those closest to the princess whose memory it hoped to honor. For years, attention remained focused on the divide between Prince William and Prince Harry, but was a far more significant alliance forming out of a public view? Why did members of Princess Diana's family decide to step forward now? And what role would their shared determination play in protecting a legacy that still commands global attention? Let's find out. The unexpected alliance behind Diana. Few people expected the strongest response to come not from palace walls, but from within Princess Diana's own family. While public attention remained fixed on the long-running tensions between Prince William and Prince Harry, another alliance was quietly taking shape behind the scenes. One built on shared memories, shared grief, and a common determination to protect the legacy of a woman whose influence continues to captivate the world decades after her death. For years, discussions surrounding Diana's image, story, and personal history have generated enormous public interest. Yet among those who knew her best, concerns have reportedly been growing about where the line exists between honoring her memory and turning that memory into a commercial product. At the center of those concerns now stands Diana's sister, whose reported position has added a powerful new dimension to an already sensitive family debate. What makes this situation especially significant is the apparent alignment between Jane Fellows and Prince William. Both carry the lasting burden of losing Diana and have spent years watching public narratives about her life develop in ways they cannot fully influence. Reports suggest they share a belief that protecting her dignity is more important than satisfying public curiosity or supporting profitable media projects. Unlike William, however, Jane operates outside the formal responsibilities of the monarchy. As the future king, William must be careful not to appear as though he is interfering in private matters or attempting to control family members. Any direct involvement from the palace could quickly spark criticism and generate headlines around the world. A response from Diana's own family, by contrast, is often seen as something far more personal, a defense of a beloved relative's memory rather than an institutional intervention. This reality places Harry in a difficult position. Challenging Jane Fellows could be viewed as opposing members of his mother's family, while confronting William could revive a public dispute many believe has already gone on too long. Remaining silent carries challenges as well. Nearly 3 decades after Diana's death in 1997, debates over her legacy remain powerful, raising a question that continues to divide opinion. When does honoring a legacy become exploiting it? And who has the right to decide? Prince Harry's deep devotion to Princess Diana has shaped some of the most important decisions of his life. But what convinced him that history was repeating itself? Why did he believe Meghan Markle was facing the same forces that once surrounded his mother, and how did that belief ultimately alter his future, his family, and his place within the monarchy? Let's unravel the details. Harry's Diana devotion sparks controversy. Prince Harry's devotion to his mother has never really been in doubt. Every time he speaks about Princess Diana, there is a sense of loss that still feels raw, even decades after her death. That grief has followed him into adulthood, influencing choices that changed the course of his life, from stepping away from royal duties to building a new future in America with Meghan Markle. For Harry, many of those decisions appear connected to a belief that history was repeating itself and that the woman he loved was facing the same forces that once surrounded his mother. Yet, love and grief can create complicated situations. Someone may genuinely wish to honor a loved one, while also becoming part of a system that turns memory into a marketable product. That debate now sits at the heart of a controversy, stretching from the quiet grounds of Althorp to media offices in Los Angeles. Many observers were surprised by reports that Jane Fellows raised concerns about a planned documentary expected to play a major role in the Sussexes' future media ambitions. Industry insiders had viewed the project, reportedly targeted for a release around 2027, as much more than a documentary. It was seen as a key production that could strengthen business partnerships and reinforce the couple's position in an increasingly competitive entertainment Industry. The stakes are high. Maintaining a high-profile lifestyle in Montesquieu requires substantial resources, including security, staff, travel, and business operations. Media agreements have helped support that lifestyle, but entertainment companies ultimately focus on audience demand, performance metrics, and financial returns. When questions arise about a project's credibility or public appeal, corporate discussions can quickly shift direction. At the same time, questions about authenticity have begun circulating within Hollywood. For years, Meghan occupied a unique space between British royalty and American celebrity culture. That position carried influence because many believed she offered rare insight into stories the public had never fully heard. However, reports of concerns from members of Diana's own family have led some commentators to question whether that connection still holds the same weight. The issue now extends beyond contracts, streaming deals, and public relations. At its core lies a more personal question. When protecting a cherished legacy becomes linked with fame, business interests, and public storytelling, where does remembrance end and commercialization begin? That question continues to surround Harry and Meghan. For nearly 3 decades, Diana's sister has carried memories of a chapter that never truly closed. But what happened during those turbulent years that left such a lasting impact? How did a controversial royal interview change her view of the media and Diana's legacy? Forever? Now, let's uncover the story behind her powerful stance. Diana's sister breaks silence. Finally, for nearly 3 decades, Diana's sister has carried the shadow of a painful chapter that never truly faded. It is not the kind of burden that appears in headlines every day, yet it has shaped the way she views the world, the media, and anyone who invokes Diana's name. The memory reaches back to the mid-1990s, when Diana, Princess of Wales, was at one of the most difficult points in her life. Seeking understanding and a chance to tell her story, she found herself at the center of an interview that would later become one of the most controversial moments in modern royal history. Years afterward, the shocking truth emerged. Questions were raised about the methods used to secure Diana's trust, revealing a trail of deception that transformed personal pain into a global spectacle. For Diana's sister, the realization was devastating. What appeared at the time to be an opportunity for Diana to be heard became a lasting reminder of how vulnerability can be exploited when powerful media interests are involved. That experience never left her. Instead, it became a lesson etched deeply into her heart. Whenever she sees emotional struggles turned into public narratives, she cannot help but remember the consequences that followed Diana's decision to speak out. From the grand palaces of London to television screens across the world, she witnessed how personal suffering could be reshaped into a story that captivated millions, while leaving lasting scars on those living it. Today, as debates continue around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Jane Fellows reportedly views events through the lens of that painful history. To her, this is not a matter of politics or public relations. It is a deeply personal concern rooted in lessons learned from the past. Having watched her sister's pain become worldwide entertainment, she is determined that Diana's legacy should never again be used in a way that risks repeating the same heartbreaking mistakes. For years, Prince Harry seemed consumed by royal disputes, media battles, and life far from the palace. But was a deeper personal conflict unfolding behind the scenes? Why has attention suddenly turned to the Spencer family? And what role might Diana's relatives play in a story that could reshape Harry's understanding of the past? Let's uncover the details. The family drama behind Harry. For years, Prince Harry has often seemed like a man standing at the edge of his own story, watching events unfold around him rather than directing them himself. While public attention has focused on media deals, royal disputes, and life in Montecito, a far deeper and more personal drama may be taking shape behind closed doors. At the center of it is not the House of Windsor, but the family that once represented his strongest connection to Princess Diana's world. Long before streaming platforms, documentaries, and global headlines became part of Harry's life, the Spencer family offered something different. They were a reminder of the warmth, honesty, and emotional comfort that Diana cherished. After her tragic death, that connection became even more important. Diana's sister helped preserve the bond between her nephews and the family roots that stretched back to Althorp, ensuring that the memory of their mother remained personal rather than purely public. That is why recent developments have attracted so much attention. Reports that Jane Fellows refused access to important family materials are being seen as more than a simple business dispute. Instead, they have raised questions about trust, legacy, and whether the boundary between remembrance and commercialization has become unclear. The decision is especially significant because the proposed 2027 project was reportedly intended to go beyond familiar photographs and public moments. Its appeal lay in the possibility of revealing a more private side of Diana, offering insights and memories that the public has never seen before. These were said to include private writings, personal notes, and family recordings preserved within Spencer hands for decades. Such materials could have offered an intimate portrait of the woman behind the global icon, her fears, hopes, frustrations, and dreams expressed in her own voice rather than interpreted by others. For Harry, the situation may be particularly painful. The disagreement is not merely about access to archives, it touches the very foundations of his identity. It raises difficult questions about memory, family, and purpose. Most of all, it asks whether preserving Diana's legacy and building a modern media empire can truly remain the same mission, or whether somewhere along the way, those paths began to separate. The world believed it knew Princess Diana through photographs, headlines, and public appearances. But what secrets remain hidden behind the walls of Althorp House? And why has Diana's sister chosen to protect them as a major 2027 documentary searches for the story that could change everything we thought we knew? Let's find out. Diana's hidden truth finally emerges. The real Diana was never the woman the world thought it knew. Beyond the famous photographs, the royal appearances, and the endlessly repeated headlines was a private person whose deepest thoughts were shared only with those closest to her. That untold story still rests behind the walls of Althorp House, protected by Jane Fellows, who has chosen caution over publicity at a time when global media companies are searching for exclusive stories capable of capturing worldwide attention. As plans emerged for a major documentary project scheduled for 2027, many believed access to Princess Diana's personal archives would be essential to its success. Audiences have already seen countless retellings of her life, from public milestones to famous interviews. What remains unseen are the private diaries, family memories, and home videos that could reveal a more personal side of Diana. Yet, those materials remain firmly protected and unavailable to filmmakers. That decision has done more than limit one production. It has preserved a sense of mystery around Diana at a time when private lives are often turned into public entertainment. By keeping these records sealed, Jane Fellows has helped ensure that Diana's story remains shaped by those who truly knew her, rather than by the demands of modern media. The implications stretch beyond a single documentary. As 2026 unfolds, increasing attention is turning toward Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's and the role Diana's legacy has played in their public narrative. Over the years, many of their projects, including documentaries, podcasts, and other media ventures, have attracted interest partly because of the continuing fascination with Diana's life and influence. This raises a question that many observers are beginning to ask. Diana's story created an emotional connection that resonated with millions around the world. Her legacy gave broader meaning to discussions about family, duty, and public scrutiny. If that connection becomes less central to the conversation, can Harry and Meghan continue to capture the same level of public attention on their own? Diana's sister did far more than reject a television project. She drew a line that many never expected. But what compelled her to take such a firm stand? What was she protecting, and why do many believe her decision could reshape the way Diana's legacy is remembered for generations to come? Let's find out. Diana's sister draws the line. What Diana's sister has done goes far beyond rejecting a television project. It is a powerful statement about memory, truth, and the protection of a legacy that has endured for decades. From the quiet grounds of Althorp, where Diana rests beneath the trees, a message has emerged that many believe will echo far beyond this moment. Some stories are not commodities, and some lives cannot be repackaged for modern branding. At the heart of the controversy is a growing belief that efforts to draw direct comparisons between Meghan Markle's experiences and Princess Diana's life have gone too far. To Diana's family, the comparison appears misplaced. Diana's journey was shaped by years of intense public scrutiny, personal sacrifice, and challenges that left a lasting impact on the monarchy. In their view, that unique history cannot simply be recreated through modern media narratives. The implications for Prince Harry are particularly significant. For much of his public life, Diana's memory has remained a powerful emotional influence and a source of strength. Yet some of the family members who helped preserve her legacy now appear determined to ensure that legacy is not reinterpreted in ways they believe misrepresent her story. Their position suggests that certain boundaries remain firmly in place, regardless of public interest or commercial potential. For Meghan, the situation carries its own consequences. Since becoming a member of the royal family, she has frequently been compared to Diana through media coverage, symbolism, and public discussion. However, when those closest to Diana question those comparisons, the debate extends far beyond any single project or headline. As 2026 unfolds, the discussion is no longer centered on one documentary or media venture. Instead, it has become a broader conversation about legacy, memory, and who has the authority to define them. At Althorp, where Diana's memory remains deeply cherished, some believe that protecting a legacy sometimes means refusing to allow others to reshape it, no matter how compelling the narrative may be. So, what do you think caused Prince Harry's shock after Diana's sister finally broke her silence on Meghan Markle? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe